Hi, welcome to Jay's Songwriting 101. In these tutorials, hopefully I can give you some ideas on how to write, record and produce your own music from home. Ultimately, I'd like to be able to use some of my favourite songs by some of the bands that I love, but I can't do that for legal reasons, so I'll be using my own music instead. And I can show you the multi-tracks, I can pull it apart and show you each instrument individually and their role within the song and how it fits together as a whole. Now this first tutorial I'll be doing will be on a fast commercial sort of rock song. The things that define it, obviously the fact that it's quick, it's 170 beats per minute, so it's pretty fast. The simplicity of it and of each part, because the more complex some of the parts are, the harder it fits together, and ultimately you want it to be fairly simple if it's going to make radio. And number three is catchiness. You want people to remember your song, so it's got to have something in it at some point that hooks the listener. So they're the three things that are within the song that I will point out, as well as other elements. Now this is a song of mine, it's called Addicted to You. And how it began was with just two different guitar parts that I wrote. I wrote these two very, very simple pieces of guitar, and the whole song revolved around what I wrote. Now I'll just play you what I wrote. This is the first riff. Very simple, some gaps. And then a very simple chord progression. Like I said from the start, very simple. You know, you don't have to be an excellent musician to be able to play a song like this. Okay, now I started off with that, and then the next thing I added to it were drums and bass. I'll show you the bass. The bass, pretty much through this whole song, except for near the end, just re-emphasises what this guitar's doing. So it's playing the same thing, it just gives it that meat in the bottom end of the frequency spectrum. So straight away you can hear that. It just gives it a bit more meat and depth sonically. Playing the same thing as a guitar. Now, the drums, it's worth noting that the drums in this song are programmed. They're not, I didn't record live drums because I'm in a very small room. My home studio is the size of your average bedroom. Now, the drums just pretty much emphasize what the bass and guitar are doing. So the only difference to, say, a normal drum beat with this particular beat is in the verse, the hi-hat, instead of being on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's only on the and, so and, on the offbeat. Okay, so you'll hear that here. I'll play just the drums on their own. Now you put that in with the bass and guitar. You get a pretty good feel there, you know? Chorus. That hi-hat thing's still going. And then, now, we're doing eighth notes on the ride. Pretty simple stuff there. But you can see how those two original riffs that I wrote are starting to fill out, and on their own, they sound completely boring if you just hear them played on guitar. But all of a sudden, you add the drums and you add that bass. All of a sudden, the texture of it, it's just filled out a little bit. Now, I'm going to fill that out a little bit more. The spaces in that riff, doom, da, da, da. I could have made that riff a lot more complicated. I could have made it go doom, da, 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 like that. But there'd be less room for other instruments. So I wanted to add a second guitar in there, and those gaps are perfect for a bit of rhythmic guitar. And what I mean by rhythmic is in reggae, the bass plays more melodically, and the guitar is reduced to a more rhythmic role, just doing the offbeat, like that. And you have your bass doing, like if you listen to a song like "I Shot the Sheriff" by Bob Marley, the bass is quite complicated. It's going do 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 do, and the guitar is doing just a very simple offbeat thing. Now I'm doing the same thing but at a much faster pace here with this song, because the bass and the other guitar are both playing sort of melodically. So this second guitar, if you hear it, very, very simple stuff. Add the other guitar in there. And bass and drums. And that's got a great feel. And that's just ready for vocals. Now in the second chorus, in the chorus here, instead of playing the same thing the bass and the first guitar are playing very similarly rhythmically as the other guitar, but playing an octave pattern. And what that does, the octave pattern harmonises with the chord progression. So it makes it sound a little bit more interesting. Instead of just just that, or instead of that all the way through, you have this. See how it harmonises there? It just makes that chord progression a lot more interesting. So if I play the chorus, let's pull the vocals out. So you see how they're just very, very simple verse and chorus parts can be just turned into something, you know, quite well. I mean, it's a decent sort of full mix. You have the harmonies of the second guitar and the rhythm that it provides in the breaks of the riff and the verse. All it needs now is some vocals over the top, and then you're laughing. So with the vocals in the chorus, instead of just doing long drawn out notes or making the vocals very rhythmic, it's a combination of the two. It starts off with a long note, and then then between the long notes you have staccato or rhythmic vocals. So I'll play the vocals on their own. This is the chorus.
This is so wrong. You're trapped inside my head. But this is what you wanted.
So you hear that long note, then rhythmic. So
all I really wanted was for us.
It's a combination of the two. To go with that, I've done a harmony. Just a single harmony and a single vocal. I haven't even bothered to double track the vocal on this song because it's a fairly high vocal, which means that it's cutting through the mix anyway. If the music, like if the vocals weren't in such a high register, then I'd probably think about double tracking the vocals to thicken it up. But because it cuts through, it doesn't really need it. The harmony that I've used for this song, harmonies can be parallel harmonies where every time the melody changes, so does the harmony, and they go like that. Or you can have a drone note harmony where the harmony stays still and the vocal moves around, or a combination of the both. And that's what I've done. I've done for this song, there's a combination of the two. So there are parts when it's parallel, there are parts when the harmony's staying still and the melody's moving around, and there's also parts where they sing in unison notes, where they're singing exactly the same thing. And it just makes it a little bit more interesting. Again, it suits the song better that way. And I'll play for that for you in part 2.